listening to Owning the Buy Box, an IP Secure podcast. This is the podcast for agencies and brands who want to master Amazon, push out unauthorized competition, and take their business to the next level. You're about to hear a conversation that'll help you maximize your growth on Amazon by owning the Buy Box. Let's get into the show.
Welcome to another edition of Owning the Buy Box. I am your host, Dave Cooper. I'm also the founder and CEO of IP Secure. As everybody knows, this show is a platform to really talk to industry experts about, not only the importance of brand protection, but the role that it plays in the larger story of success, because it's not easy to be successful on Amazon. And so that's why today I'm especially excited for our guest, and that's Mike Penrod. And Mike is the director of partner marketing for Pattern, and Pattern is the world's, at least in my view, most successful seller on Amazon, largest seller. I guess there's a lot of metrics you can use to kind of measure how great someone is, but Pattern is definitely, if not the most successful, one of the most successful. And so, Mike, I'm really excited for you to be here. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for the invitation, Dave. Really excited to be talking to you today.
I'm fascinated by the company, and we can kind of dive in a little bit, into Pattern and what makes you different. But before we do that, I'm really interested to understand, Mike, a little bit about you and your background. Director of partner marketing, sounds like you've got your hand in quite a few different things. How did you wind up at Pattern and sort of in the space in general?
Yeah, no, it's an interesting story. So I actually started my career in data science and IT, and this would have been 12, 13 years ago. And I was working back then with our founder, with Dave Wright, with our CTO, with our CIO. We were all in the same department in an IT shop in Salt Lake City, and worked with them for a few years and went to grad school and moved into partnerships and alliances. And as I'm going through my career, I look back at some of my buddies from the IT days and see that Dave had started this company, Pattern, and was really fascinated by it, fascinated by the business model, fascinated by what they were doing. And long story short, I kept working in alliances and partnerships in different companies, Amazon, Dell, Symantec. But when the time was right, I was able to make a move over to Pattern and start working on partnerships here.
So it was you happened to obviously create these relationships really early on in your career, but then it sounds like you went off and did quite a number of things, most recently working, at Amazon and really focused on more on their cloud business.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of an interesting transition. You went from selling, and working on technologies, right, that were, behind the scenes to being, kind of at the forefront of e-commerce. And I think that transition is interesting. At Pattern, do you think that the things and the technologies and the lessons that you've learned are like really relevant, or did you have to kind of learn a whole new business in terms of e-commerce, how to be successful there?
The principles of partnership have largely remained the same, though, and that is giving more than you get. Finding mutual value that we can share across different companies, and using that value to make something bigger than you could make on your own. And we work to do that both with other companies in the e-commerce space, as well as directly with the brands that we're working with.
Yeah, I mean, because Pattern is big now. I think it's what, 160 brands, 60 plus countries or something. Is that about right?
That's right. Yeah. We've gotten almost 200 brands that we're servicing, and all over the globe that we're helping those brands sell.
So you have obviously the muscle, the manpower to build a lot of your own technologies, to do a lot of things, but it seems like the business still values, partnerships and external expertise in an effort to create the overall value proposition.
I think so, and we do have a lot of strengths, and we really do emphasize on the marketplaces space and some D2C as well. But there are areas, like where we're not going to service our clients, and that's in, like viral videos or email marketing and different things like that kind of go beyond the direct focus of marketplaces. And yeah, there's a lot of value in partnering with the best to make sure those are covered for our partners as well.
Yeah, I agree with that philosophy. I think there are providers and solution providers and agencies and there's a lot of flavors of companies out there. If you're a brand that you can partner with, and some of them sort of say they do everything, some are kind of specialists in certain areas, and I think it sounds like Pattern subscribes to a little bit of both, which is core competency and being the best in the world at the things that really matter to your business, and then partnering right when it makes sense to do that. How important is sort of the Amazon universe? I mean, as you know, the name of the show is Owning the Buy Box. I mean, we talk a lot about marketplaces in general and e-commerce in general, but the conversation inevitably comes back to Amazon as at least in my opinion, the world's most important marketplace platform. So, how important is Amazon to you guys and the success of the brands that you work with?
Yeah, it's vital to our success, and we do help brands across multiple countries, continents to sell their products. But even there, it's the Amazon entities, the different country entities of Amazon that we are that's the core of a lot of what we do for those brands is on Amazon. But even if you look domestically, the majority of our sales go through Amazon, and with most brands that we work with, we start on Amazon. We make sure that we get Amazon right, that we get control on that marketplace, and that they are doing their best on that marketplace before we look at expanding into other marketplaces and growing there.
People ask me all the time, what about this platform in Asia or this platform in Europe? And, by any measurement stick that you can find or data that you can find, the size of the Amazon ecosystem is just so much larger than anything else that exists today. I mean, I realize Walmart's getting bigger and, Target is more relevant and, there's lots of platforms when you go outside the US, but just on a pure market share basis, nothing comes close to Amazon.
There's some competition out there. Tmall and JD, they have pretty big shares of the pie, and even more so than Amazon domestically here. And that's an exciting area for us as well, is to help brands in that space too.
Yeah, and I guess to me that's really exciting too, right? Is the opportunity you get with Pattern is the global reach, the ability to expand, and I would think your understanding of those markets is going to be stronger than others.
Yeah, no, it is a unique differentiator for us, and we have invested a lot in our international presence. We have over 20 offices, a 5-star Tmall seller, and the teams around there to support those motions.
Who is in your buy box? That's the key question, and the difference between sales growth and brand abuse and revenue loss. Monitoring your buy box is the key to brand protection success on Amazon. At IP Secure, our analytics will drive your behavior. It's not about taking down more sellers, removing more unauthorized listings. It's about knowing who's taking your revenue minute by minute, and then adjusting your response appropriately, taking action when necessary, and recapturing that revenue. Visit us today, ipsecure.com, to learn how.
Mike, and you may not have thoughts on this, but and if it's too tactical, let me know. But because we talk to agencies, we talk to direct-to-consumer brands, we talk to more companies now that are hybrids. They are accelerators, if you want to call them that. There's also the aggregator model out there, right? So there's sort of several different business motions happening. Do you have thoughts on that? Is Pattern exclusively in one of those and not others, or embracing lots of different motions?
Yeah. So primary go-to-market is as an accelerator. And the way that looks is we take a distribution partnership with the brands that we represent, where we are purchasing their product at wholesale pricing and representing them on the marketplaces that they want us to represent them on. And that includes all the services from creative to SEO, customer service, returns if they'd like to work that into the contract, but all those different pieces are worked into the contract, and we don't charge any agency fees for that. We do their advertising, their creative, all those things underneath just the premise that we're covering our costs in the margins of reselling their product, and that's it.
So you make sure the economics work for you, obviously. So it's really interesting because it's like you're not acquiring brands in most cases.
Yeah, no, our primary model is distribution. Yep.
Yeah. So, but I would think that the financial aspect of the business and the due diligence that's required up front is just as important. I mean, that's one of the things we talk about a lot in the aggregator space is they're really finance companies, really. And, identifying the right financial opportunity where they believe the growth exists, right, and the numbers work. And I would think in your model, that's probably pretty important as well. And it's kind of fascinating to me, too, because I think, you work with a ton of different brands. And I would think that creates an amount of experience that others can't bring to the table. Like there's probably very little you guys haven't seen before, right? The brand that's at $5 million a month and they really want to be $20 million a month. And, I think Pattern's ability probably to look at that situation and determine A, if that's possible, and B, how to get there is going to be a lot better, right, than many others.
It's fascinating to see what they've built here. Just to look at a brand, the amount of data that we have that we're using to service these brands, we're scraping over 5 billion rows of data a month, and using that data to make informed decisions about these brands, from their advertising strategy to what their growth potential is, to what are the levers that they should be pulling to reach that potential. And when we're talking to a brand, we'll look at their 3-year projection of what we think they can do and what they need to do to get to that before we even sign the contract. And we're looking at that then with them and making sure that there is potential on both sides.
Do you think access to data is sort of what's enabled Pattern to grow as quickly as you have and sort of take that unique perspective? Because it just feels to me like that has to be a huge driver, because a lot of it is the strategy and the decision making that you're describing.
Yes, and I do think so. And that goes back to some of the tech that we use that's patented that really gives us an edge on the advertising side, to the information on sellers and map pricing and distribution and all those different things that we can help serve that to the brands so that can inform their strategy for control and success in the marketplaces.
Yeah. It's not, when you use data science effectively, it's not conjecture, it's not gut feeling anymore, right? Now it's real analytics to make good decisions about how you sell and how you advertise. As we talk about different selling motions and businesses and business models, what does the sort of overall umbrella of Pattern look like? Maybe you could talk us through that a little bit.
Sure. So Pattern, we talked through the core model of buying product, reselling it for these brands. We also have a really strong consulting arm, especially internationally, a very strong team internationally that helps with identifying markets for expansion and the right methods to expand into those marketplaces. And, like if a brand isn't all in on this model of distribution that we typically go with, there are options for consulting as well. But also, too, we've had a few recent acquisitions. One is called Current, and they are an influencer marketing platform. We love this from a data perspective because they are very data obsessed as well. And they look at the ability of different influencers to move product and in specific categories, so we can put that science or that math behind success for brands and what it would look like if they were to push their products through those different influencers. Another platform that we recently acquired is called Amplify, and they're a PIM DAM solution. And so they help to centralize all of your product information and make that consistent and easy to access across different marketplaces, different retail channels, to make sure that you have that consistent product catalog and product information and things that you're doing. And then another one, this is a little bit older, that we partnered with them and acquired them, is Enlisted Design, and they're a design agency. They've worked with brands from Allbirds shoes to they worked with a lot of interesting brands, from Allbirds shoes to Stance socks, and they help with the product design and the branding elements of that product as well.
Oh wow! So not just digital content, but literal product design.
They do. Yep, they can help with product design, packaging design, all of those things.
So is the future vision that, Pattern is the only place I need to go to be successful online if I'm a brand owner?
It's a bold statement, and there would be a lot of investments that we need to make to get to that. But we are trying to be strategic about the companies that we invest in that are going to bring the most value to brands. Influencer marketing, content management, product design, like those are all things that are essential to succeeding on Amazon and on marketplaces. And that still is kind of our core focus is marketplaces and success on those.
You've been listening to Owning the Buy Box, a show from IP Secure. Never miss an episode by subscribing to the show in your favorite podcast player. Please give us a rating, leave a comment, and share episodes that you love. That helps us keep delivering you the tools you need to sharpen your competitive edge and ensure your authorized sellers always own the buy box. We'll see you next time.